What is happening, YouTube? So the Los Angeles Clippers are on an incredibly horrible losing streak. And I'm not gonna make a usual video on, just covering the game, but I'm gonna talk some options on what the Clippers could do in the postseasons. And it's like in various scenarios. I'm gonna give in the first like 2/3 of the video, I'm gonna be talking about the DEFCON 1 version, like if the Clippers get bounced and let's say the Clippers do not make it to the finals, um, and if the Clippers want to pull a panic button, and then the last part of my videos is going to be what I personally think the Clippers should actually really do. But just to give a massive overcast, the Los Angeles Clippers have been they have definitely been playing far from good basketball. And a lot of people are going to say Russell Westbrook is the problem. And if you just watch this game, I would understand. But all the other past games, to say Russell Westbrook is a problem is far from the truth. The actual truth, the real problem for the Clippers was Tyronn Lue lacking the minutes of guys like four players that I will like. Terrence Mann, Moussa Diabate, Robert Covington, and then my bad. I should say three players. Well, I could just technically say four because Bones Highland as well too, or Brandon Boston, but mainly the three players, Covington and Mann and Diabate, and he insists on playing Marcus Morris during the crunch. And what else you want Russell Westbrook to do? That man was literally putting us in the game. He was like at least for the past three games, he was respectfully efficient and he got guys really good look. But when you have a really incompetent head coach who puts Marcus Morris during a crunch and then who refuses to use Terrence Mann as a shooting guard because Ty Lue thinks Terrence Mann can only play point guard, which in reality, Terrence Mann naturally is a shooting guard that can play the point guard. So what Tyronn Lue should have done was start Terrence Mann with Russell Westbrook for defense, and then all of the Russell Westbrook narrative would have been dwindled. And yeah, you can say technically Russell Westbrook is a problem because he cost Terrence Mann minutes to go down, that is true, but that is Tyronn Lue's job to still play Terrence Mann the minutes. It is still very possible that Terrence Mann can still be playing 35 plus minutes, regardless we have Westbrook or not. So to say it's the majority, it's Russell Westbrook's fault, that's far from the truth. And I don't even like Russell Westbrook, all right? At least from 2 weeks ago. But I like to keep it a stack as well too. I'm not gonna just try to just like drown out all of our problems and say, oh, we just signed Westbrook. Oh, Russell Westbrook is a cancer. No, I keep accountabilities of everybody, and it is more than a Russell Westbrook problem. It's way more than a Russell Westbrook problem, and Tyronn Lue, this dude just lost his damn mind, and and supposedly, if he wants to save it for the playoffs, man, we are literally in the play-in right now, and Tyronn Lue is still starting all these old ass veterans who cannot, you know, do shit for the team, and then refuse to play guys like Covington and Terrence Mann during the closing minutes, and then he also left guys like Boston Jr. and Diabate sitting on the bench too, when those guys would have been better than half of these players playing right now. And of course, come on, Paul George obviously could try to do better, but again, so much you can do when you have a head coach who's been who's been sipping NyQuils before the NBA game, and it's painful to see. And the way how the Clippers are doing right now, it's far from acceptable. And I'm not only looking at Tyronn Lue at this point, but um, I'm also starting to look at Lawrence Frank as well too. While Lawrence Frank, he did not star hunt. He did this one stupid decision that landed us Eric Gordon, but we swapped picks with the Houston Rockets. So now the Clippers are like get the 30th pick, and the Rockets get the 17th and 18th pick because the Bucks are so good and the Clippers have been playing like garbage. But if the Clippers do not like do any good at all, I'm starting to look at Lawrence Frank too, and I'm not mad at Lawrence Frank because he didn't go for Kyrie or he tried to trade for like I don't know a big name that would have helped this media. I'm not mad at that. I'm mad at Lawrence Frank because he did a first round pick swap for Eric Gordon, and that time which is I blame myself too because I was not adamant at all about the pick swap. I thought, maybe the Clippers can actually do good and all that, but I was a little bit concerned, but not enough that I um, talked about it in my past videos. But he did a first round pick swap for a guy that we could use, but we did not need, and for Eric Gordon. So we traded Kennard, and this would have been a perfect vacuum power for a guy like Brandon Boston Jr. Brandon Boston Jr. is a better player than Eric Gordon if you play him his minutes right now. I can guarantee that. But you decide to do a first round pick swap for Eric Gordon, and that's a pretty reckless decision. And in my opinion, an ideal general manager would think twice before. Well, heck, not think twice. Think rigorously before you trade any first round picks or you do any first round pick swaps or um, you know trade your young talent, which thankfully Lawrence Frank hasn't done. Well, hopefully he does not do it, but he hasn't done it yet. I don't know, but we did a first round pick swap for Eric Gordon. That's just pretty beyond pathetic. The Clippers should have stopped after we got Bones Highland and then Mason Plumlee. That should have been our only acquisition. If we wanted Gordon, we could have just maybe sent like I don't know some cash considerations or maybe one second round pick if you really wanted him so bad. But there's no way in heck you should have done a pick swap when your position is clogged with shooting guards. And heck, Bones Highland would have done so much better than Eric Gordon um, right now. And Highland could have played it too. Or ideally, Highland should be like the sixth man for the point guard. And then, maybe Norman Powell, and then you do whatever. Then I don't know, just you would get Covington playing and then Batum and then Plumlee and all that instead of, having to go ridiculously small with Eric Gordon because even Eric Gordon's a good player, but if we keep playing like this, man, that pick swap is definitely going to hurt us. And I want y'all to go on Tankathon, which shows like all the teams mock draft, and then the Clippers are at 30 and the Rockets at 17. All just because we did an um, Eric Gordon trade, which is pretty pathetic. But now let's go for we're gonna I'm gonna talk about two options what the Clippers can do if we go DEFCON 1. So one scenario if we go DEFCON 1. Yes, my good old Scoot Henderson Photoshop from last year that I kind of try to tell y'all about Scoot Henderson, and Scoot Henderson is balling. DEFCON 1. We just tear everything up. We trade Kawhi Leonard to the Houston Rockets for Scoot Henderson. So why would the Rockets do that? The Rockets are trying to get James Harden to have a little reunion with them. And nothing is better than to just trade a really high value draft pick for a all-star. Beyond, or actually, not just an all-star, the best basketball player in the world. And then Scoot Henderson, if he gets drafted, if the Houston Rockets get number 2, they're in a difficult spot because the Rockets already got a lot of guards. They got Josh Christopher, Ty Ty Washington, Jalen Green, Kevin Porter Jr. So Scoot Henderson, how could he fit that team? He could do really good, but it's going to be a little funky. So I could guarantee they would trade Scoot for Kawhi in a heartbeat. And then obviously some other picks too. And so what the Clippers are getting into getting for this, the Clippers get a extremely electrifying point guard who could just run the point so good. He's like a bullet train. Think of the Japanese bullet train that just goes so fast. He's literally like that and moves the ball around so good. His layups are very acrobatic. He's a solid mid-range shooter. Think of Scoot Henderson as a mix of Derrick Rose and Dwayne Wade. Scoot Henderson, um, like if you kind of look stat wise and all that, if you ever have any doubts of that, um, you need to also factor that Scoot Henderson played in a G League when he was pretty much supposed to be a high school senior, and he still did respectable against guys like Jordan Poole, Jonathan Kuminga, which is they're playing starter minutes right now. And Scoot Henderson did respectably well against them. And Scoot Henderson is so good. I try to say he was better than Victor Wembanyama, but obviously that's not aging well at all. But Scoot Henderson, he'd be the perfect reset for the Los Angeles Clippers. If we can somehow hit a jackpot and trade Kawhi for Wembanyama, that would not even be a reset at all. But so what happens with Paul George if we trade Kawhi for Scoot Henderson? Well, Paul George can have two options. Paul George might either leave, or number two, which I low-key have a feeling Paul George is going to do. I feel like Paul George is going to say, you know what, screw it. I moved around so many teams, and I want to, stay with the Clippers because Paul George, he grew up loving the LA Clippers, and he also said he is committed to, like, he actually I could kind of recall the exact quote is he wants to win a championship with the Los Angeles Clippers. Well, trading for Scoot Henderson does not look like the Clippers are winning the championship on paper, but once you see this kid play, he's definitely going to be a menace, and Paul George is definitely going to regain his hopes again. And if Paul George loved playing with Russell Westbrook, he's going to have his best days playing with Scoot Henderson. And if we, like, worst case scenario, I'm just saying, like, I'm somewhat recommending this, but I'm not, officially pushing for it yet. If I'm not officially pushing it yet, but let's just say worst case scenario, Clippers get bounced in the second round. Clippers trade Kawhi for Scoot Henderson. If we get Scoot Henderson on the team next season, I can tell you one player is going to benefit a lot from Scoot Henderson, Ivica Zubac. Because Zubac always needed a guy who could feed him the ball well. And once Scoot Henderson becomes a Clipper, he's getting an easy double-double. And also, I would like a new head coach as well, too, who actually plays the young guys. And then and the other option, if Paul George wants a dip, I guess we can always find another team that could just give us a boatload of picks. Would be nice if we could try to somehow convince OKC to give us the picks, but would doubt that. But get as many picks as you can return. But obviously, Scoot Henderson is the main target if we do want to tear 213. apart. But that's my that's one version of DEFCON 1. DEFCON 1 option 2. Go all in for a third star. Just forget all these picks. Just trade everybody for Siakam or Damian Lillard. Spoiler alert. I hate this plan with a burning passion. There is a huge proportion of Clippers fans who want to star hunt, who want to go for Damian Lillard, Siakam, or whatever, or the less radical version, but I would still count him as a star hunter, is, maybe trade a first round pick, Brandon Boston Jr., um, Bones Highland for like maybe, or something like that. Like, not exactly, but you get the point. Basically, trade a first rounder for, I don't know, some guy like John Collins or Miles Turner. And I would still say no to that because um, I don't want to see the Clippers to go for another 1 or 2 year of hope, and then after that, the Clippers become bankrupt for 8 years. It's the equivalent of, like you lost $200 in a slot machine, and then you spend all the rest of the money in a slot machine, and then you leave home with empty money. That's what, trading a first round pick for the Clippers condition is like doing right now. Because the Clippers, they don't fully control their pick till 2028. So the Clippers should refrain from throwing any first round picks and any trades from now on, unless if you know the draft class is pretty weak. And of course, Boston Jr., man, well, man for 90% scenarios. Mainly Boston Jr., Bones, and Diabate. They should be off limits for sure. Make sure you have money on your wallet. You do not want to go bankrupt just for a hopes for 1 or 2 year. And even best case scenario, let's just say, oh, we trade Bones, Boston, all your picks, and all these pick swaps for Damian Lillard. Even you win one ring. And it is just for a temporary joy. But then what happens after that? Bankruptcy. Bankruptcy. You see your team in nothing and despair after, star hunting. Because if the Clippers have to go for a third star, you're giving up everybody. And if we do actually decide to trade for a star, I would rather trade PG rather than to just trade our damn decade away for a third star, to be honest with you. And obviously I would definitely keep PG for sure, but I'm just saying, if you do want to trade for a star, it's better to trade PG rather than just to trade everybody for trade our entire youth and our picks for just 1 decade. And of course, I don't like the idea of trading Paul George at the moment, but I'm just saying, I'm just talking about how much I despise this, this, this option. But now, my personal plan for the Clippers, regardless how good the Clippers do or how bad the Clippers do, even if the LA Clippers win the championship, the Clippers need to go hard for this kid from South Carolina named Gregory Jackson. Gregory Jackson was once considered to be a top 5 pick, but his college year was really interesting. He played pretty good at times, but there are games when he would play a bit poorly. But this man would be the ideal savior for the Los Angeles Clippers. And if y'all just, if y'all have a particular person that you want the Clippers to get, I suggest y'all to invest your energy for this man right over here. This man is a perfect, ideal person for a power forward. He can rebound, he can shoot, defense, play make. He can do all of that. And now he's projected around the late teens, pretty much the late teens, really, like 15th pick. So it's going to be a bit of a challenge, but it is doable to trade up for him. And some sites they project him as um, like as low as 21. That's on Tankathon. And the Clippers could easily be in a perfect position to get him at all without doing any trades. But of course, silly Lawrence Frank thought it was okay to do a pick swap for Eric Gordon despite Brandon Boston Jr. or Terrence Mann being a better player than Eric Gordon. But anyways, let's dig into this film of what Gregory Jackson could bring to the Los Angeles Clippers. And also, before I continue, um, it's pretty much 3 days before my birthday, and when your birthday happens, you get to make a wish. And my basketball wish is to get Gregory Jackson to be a Los Angeles Clipper on June 20, 23rd. I mean, not okay. I wish for Gregory Jackson to be in the Los Angeles Clippers for on June 22, 2023, and for him to remain a Clipper. So simply be a Clipper. Do not trade him. Just do whatever means to trade for this man right over here. That's my birthday wish for the Los Angeles Clippers. Obviously, win the championship, but this man is perfect for the long term. Anyways, film number one. So he pretty much just take a look, midi. So pretty much he's all the way from the corner. And if I had to give this guy a pretty good player comparison, I would say he's a Julius Randle infused with some Giannis Antetokounmpo. This is where I kind of like would throw in the Giannis Antetokounmpo comparison because the way how he moves, so the way how he dribbles the ball, just bam, bam, and then he gets to his spot really smooth, and the shot is really contested as well too. And the reason why I compare him to Julius Randle because he has the midi game. He has that little turn on fadeaway. I don't know if I got it in this clip, but he has a pretty smooth jumper. And also some sites compare him to Josh Smith, which I could see. And look how smoothly he just does it. Like over here, like a lot of people would have just passed the ball or like turned the ball over, but this man was getting like, and the guy guarding Gigi was playing really good defense, but Gigi just blew past him just like that, and he just stumbled like, where you going? And Gigi just split gack, just that man was just, ooh, and he was playing great defense on Gigi, but Gigi just found a way to hit that beautiful midi, man. So you got one thing, he's very good at shot making for sure. But what about his defense? What about his passing and all that? And what can Gigi Jackson provide for the Los Angeles Clippers? Is he a project or can he be an immediate impact? I say he's going to be good for the immediate impact, but at the same time he's going to be good for the long term. What? Marcus Morris is starting. If Marcus Morris can start, this man can start as well too. But instead, he's actually going to be 10 times better than Marcus Morris. No disrespect to Marcus Morris. Anyways, um, prayers to Marcus Morris. Hopefully he heals up and hopefully everything goes pretty well for him. I kind of noticed this little cycle that when Marcus Morris does bad, he tends to all of a sudden sit out games and he has a supposed injury. So maybe um, there is still some gas left in his tank, and when Marcus Morris returns, he could probably have some pretty solid nights, and that could get his trade value back up. And then, anyways, more Gigi Jackson clips. So this is him again, throwing a dimer. So not only that you're getting a really good shot creator, but you have a power forward who could just throw a dimer like that. Marcus Morris, he has never done anything like this, like ever. Just pretty much pass the ball like a point guard. And then just more of his playmaking, just he has that pocket pass as well too. So if Gigi were to get doubled, which I predict him to get doubled a lot when he plays in NBA, just how gifted his offensive bag. Um, I would definitely say he gets doubled a lot, and then he could definitely throw dimes as well too. So that's even a bigger plus. And now his defense. So defense is definitely a really important part of the NBA. So let's see his defense. Bam! Just a strong rejection. Just dude was driving to the basket, stayed in front of him so well, and then bam with that block shot. He also has a 48-inch vertical as well too, so that's even more enticing reasons on why the Clippers should go all out for him. And then the last two clips, G Jackson again, just out of nowhere. Look how high he jumped. Just take and he's 6'8" as well too, 6'8", 6'9". Like pretty literally like he just does this on a regular basis, like over the I don't know whatever you call it, the over the square thingy, just bam, just rejection. And this is probably one of my favorite ones. So he's G Jackson. He's essentially guarding a really quick point guard. It's kind of like guarding like an Isaiah Thomas type player, or like a De'Aaron Fox or Ish Smith type player. And this is a power forward. Look how well he stays in front of him. Just bam! Like this guy thought he got a easy blow, but then he just sends him all the way to Australia. Just a beautiful block. But anyways, those are all the films I got on G Jackson, and from now on, and I already did, but I'm only gonna do this harder. I'm just gonna be randomly pushing for a GG Jackson to the Clippers agenda because we got to get him in the LA Clipper uniform. And also, of course, there are other good options too for the Clippers, not just GG Jackson that is more appropriate towards our range, like a Taylor Hendricks or a Noah Clowney or a Derek Lively or a Khalil Ware, but GG Jackson is the main focus because GG Jackson is going to be something special. Oh, take a guess how old he is. I'm going to give you 5 seconds. You ready? He barely turned 18. So, GG Jackson is technically supposed to be in high school, but he occasionally would drop 20 points a game. He even dropped 30. And he also had games that he dominated. But of course, he had some bad games as well too, but gotta factor that he's pretty much a high schooler doing this. So that screams potential. So I don't see any reason why the Clippers should not go after GG Jackson. I mean, if I had to tell you his flaws, I mean, it's not really like well, it's for some of y'all it would be a bit significant, but considering that he's pretty much a high schooler doing this, the flaws should be like less worrisome because he's a high schooler, but he's already balling in college. I guess you could say his weakness is his turnovers and obviously consistencies, but that's part of him because he's pretty much a high schooler doing this in college. And I predict and I hope G.G. Jackson's draft stock falls down a little bit more. Well, a lot more would be the best, but a little bit more because he's playing for South Carolina. In South Carolina, they're not doing really good at basketball. And, once March Madness comes, more prospects are going to rise quickly. And I predict G.G. Jackson's stock to take a little bit of a hit. So hopefully he gets more attainable. But now, how could the Los Angeles Clippers get him? Um, and the person I'm using to get GG Jackson is if we cannot use Marcus Morris as a trade up, I would just strictly try to use Norman Powell as a straight up trade for G.G. Jackson because Norman Powell, he's been struggling lately, but I predict Norman Powell would eventually pick up his scoring slump. And once Norman Powell goes on a good scoring run, I predict there will be a decent amount of teams that will be interested into being willing to consolidate a first round pick that would give us the ability to get a guy like G.G. Jackson. Other, um, never mind, but and one team that would definitely be the prime candidate that's willing to probably give us a guy like a G.G. Jackson for a Norman Powell is the Miami Heat. The Miami Heat, they're in a similar situation like us. They are struggling. They are losing a lot of games. And the Miami Heat would definitely love a guy like a Norman Powell. So we could definitely just ship Norman Powell to Miami for the first round pick to get Gregory Jackson. And we sacrificed by taking it on Duncan Robinson's contract, but we get G.G. Jackson in return, and we could try to get a first round pick as well too within the future, heavily protected. But and in my opinion, of course, like the trade does not sound appetizing because you're getting Duncan Robinson, but I believe getting G.G. Jackson for the Clippers will dramatically pay off, and and obviously probably we could probably just ship Morris to, I don't know, maybe a team like a Dallas Mavericks for, just for some picks as well too, I guess. We could probably take on another bad contract because, I mean, Marcus Morris, he's been a shell of himself lately, and why not try to get a first round pick for him while just sacrificing for a bad contract? So you're really just trading one really good role player for um, a high upside level prospect, and then you're probably dumping Morris, for some extra asset in the future to take on a bad contract, and then obviously we probably and if that is if Ty Lue keeps this up, if he keeps this bad coaching up, probably just definitely get Ty Lue the heck out of here, and we get a coach who actually plays the really good players and all the bad players to just sit on the bench. But that's what I would personally do if I were the general manager. And a lot of y'all need to learn how to have an open mind. I'm not like specifically calling out anybody, but a lot of people like they would mistake me of trading one good role player for a really good draft class as a rebuild. But that is far from true when I'm talking about just trading one player in Norman Powell for G.G. Jackson. I don't classify that as a rebuild. What I count as a rebuild is trading Kawhi Leonard or Paul George for Scoot Henderson. That's a rebuild. But trading one player for a prospect that's going to help us immediately, like G.G. Jackson, that is not a rebuild. You're just playing chess. And one thing I love to do is play chess, not checkers. But anyways, let me know what y'all think about those options. Which options would y'all do? Would y'all want to go for the option that I do not like, and it's to go all in for a third star, or trade a first round pick, or trade our youth for a quote unquote proven player? Would you rather go rebuild, or are y'all on DEFCON 1, or you still have some hopes for the season that we could turn it around? Please, 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 please turn it around, Clippers. Please. And also, Kawhi Leonard's out tomorrow, so please just try to have a good night. Much love. Peace.